What the hell?
We got a video to shoot, David.
My name is David, and for the last few years, I've been testing out popular internet recipes from the comfort of my parents' basement. But now, I am hitting the streets to not only test out some of the most iconic restaurant foods across the country, but also to try to show you how to make them at home. This is David versus Restaurants. So it's only week 2 and we've already ran out of friends. So yes, I am alone on camera today, but it is fine because we are at Captain Scott's Lobster Dock in New London, Connecticut. This place was kind of made famous by Casey Neistat. I would have never known about this if it wasn't for him, so thank you. I've had a lot of lobster rolls in my day. This has to be like top 3 easily. Most lobster, freshest, best tasting. We also have some bisque. Should I make the bisque too?
I think you should, so I can eat it.
I had no intentions of making the bisque also, but I guess I'll make it. Can you even see? I guess I'll make it. It'll be like a lobster feast.
Yeah.
Are you jealous?
Yes.
It's so hard to describe the difference between like fresh, just steamed lobster and like stuff that's been sitting around or cooked a day in advance. It is so good though. It's got like the perfect amount of chew, it's not rubbery. The only complaint I've always had with this is like the 20th time I've had this, is the bottom. I think they put so much butter in it, it kind of gets a little soggy and then falls apart before you even finish it. Flavor's fantastic though. If I... That was loud. Obviously I'm gonna make this bread and I'm gonna try to really get a nice crisp on it so it doesn't absorb the butter so easily. Other than that, I don't really see how this can be improved upon. I don't know if I've ever even attempted to make a bisque. Where do you go and buy a soup that has lobster like that in it? Come on now. This is one of the few places that probably would have been fine with me filming if I let them know, because Casey used to film here all the time. But like, don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness.
Okay.
Don't follow that, kids. Yeah, a bisque is great too. This is gonna be an expensive episode. Damn, I didn't think about this. If those first few clips made you hungry and you don't live near Connecticut or anywhere you can get good seafood, you're gonna need to grab some lobster tails. Maybe not $44 worth of them, but I do want to make multiple rolls, and obviously you have to make the bisque too, so I splurged a little bit. I also grabbed some white wine and olive oil, fresh thyme and celery, cayenne pepper, Worcestershire sauce, paprika, white pepper, garlic, heavy cream, tomato paste, onion, and butter. If you couldn't tell, all this stuff is just for the bisque, and I am gonna start with my lobster tails for a couple of reasons. Number 1, apparently once you cook it and chop the meat up, you have to chill it, according to this recipe. And number 2, I need some of this lobster stock in order to make the base of my bisque. I boiled these away for about 10 minutes or so. I let them cool and then tried to crack open the shell with my hand. These actually opened a lot easier than I thought they would. Shout out to the homie Chris Morocco for teaching me how to do this. He's been coming through in more ways than one recently in these videos. And I just gave all of the meat a nice rough chop and sent it off to the fridge and measured up about 2 cups of the broth. And now I can prepare everything else. Also, before we start the base for this, I have to open my white wine bottle. I do not have a wine opener, I learned as I was filming this. And being that it's about midnight while I'm cooking this, I don't think I can go buy one. Instead, I'm gonna try an old technique that one of my friends suggested. I would definitely not recommend the blowtorch. I don't think any shards of the glass fell out, I think it just cracked. But just in case, I am gonna throw this through a coffee filter and hope that I don't eat a piece of glass later. Now that that's out of the way, we can grab our pot and start to cook up our veggies with a little bit of olive oil, some onion, garlic, thyme, and about a 1/4 cup of my celery. A few minutes later, I added in my white wine along with the Worcestershire sauce and something called Creole seasoning, which is supposedly just a mix of like basil, oregano, cayenne pepper, paprika, salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder. All basic stuff, it's just a lot of it. I also figured I would get this out of the way first because I could just let this simmer for hours while I'm preparing the rolls. It's not like those have some crazy proof time. So this is looking really good after I added in that heavy cream and butter. So I'm just gonna let this simmer on the lowest heat while I start on the rolls. For those, you need some lobster as well, some bread flour and oil, sugar, butter, yeast and egg, salt, and some hot water. Now I was shocked when I found a hot dog roll recipe that is 30 minutes long. Supposedly that's including the proofing time, so if this comes out decent at all, my mind will be blown. You literally just bloom the yeast with the sugar and the oil and eventually add in your flour and salt. This becomes super soft and delicate because of that bread flour, and once you cut it in 5 even pieces, kind of shape them up to be hot dog rolls. You let them rest for 10 minutes and then bake them in a 425-degree oven for another 10 minutes. For how quick these just took me, I cannot complain. I did want to cut them across the top instead of in the side, but I will have to settle because they smell and look great. I do want to quickly get a nice toast on my roll, so I sliced one open, threw it down on a cast iron skillet, and now I know why they don't toast the inside. I don't think there's any way for me to keep these two halves together, so I just cut a second roll. I'm gonna use this one and not even bother trying. Lastly, I wanna make some clarified butter, also known as ghee, also known as movie theater butter. It's just really good because it doesn't absorb in bread or popcorn for that matter. You just heat some butter up, you let it sit for a while, skim off those top milk solids, and then pour out the clear stuff in the middle. That's it. All we have to do now is grab our lobster meat from the fridge, throw that down in a pan along with some of that clarified butter, allow everything to heat up and get nice and coated, and then it is time to assemble our feast. I don't know about any of you out there, but I have never seen a more beautiful sight than this bisque along with this magnificent looking lobster roll. I want to stuff my face right now, so let's give it a try. Now you probably saw in the last clip, but some of the butter is like leaching off of the lobster and pooling at the top a bit. But it looks like a nice classy like truffle oil garnish or something. Also, I kind of don't want to admit that I'm much more excited for the bisque than the roll, which, again, I didn't even plan on making today, but here we are. Of course, my luck is the time that nobody is here trying this with me. I absolutely nail it, or the recipe does, because this is not my recipe. I was worried when I was making it, because it seemed very thin, very pale, but after letting it simmer for a little bit more, it thickened up nicely. The flavor is phenomenal, and there's huge chunks of lobster coated in butter in there. So now with this one, you might think that I just put a little extra butter there in case you want to pour it over. Really, it's just to hold it up so it doesn't fall off the side of the plate. I mean, you might as well use it if it's there, right? I don't think it's gonna absorb into the bread, at least not right away. Cheers, everyone. I wish you could all be here with me to try, but too bad. Such an asshole. Wow. I really wish I was able to get a nice toast on the inside of this, but other than that, wow. The only thing that kind of sucks with clarified butter like this is the majority of the flavor, the salt, the richness in butter comes from what you take out when you get to this point. If you ever try to make this, try a little bit of like those milk solids at the bottom, those kind of white opaque little pieces, and you'll see like how salty they are. This overall is fantastic though. Very comparable to earlier. I would say my bread is probably better just because it's not so soggy on the bottom and it's staying together. What a day. Both this one and the one from earlier are great. I would eat both of them any single day of the week. But this one didn't take me too long, so if you want to splurge a little bit, leave all the recipes down in the description. I recommend go trying them out. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's DVR. Let me know what you're thinking of the series up to this point. I'm gonna keep pumping them out for you every single Monday, sometime around 6 o'clock Eastern, so look out for next week's. Other than that, have a fantastic week. I will see you right back here next time. Peace.
With the M without the AD. Flipping burgers and my money super lazy. Try and make a meal tonight, they ain't paying me. Try and supersize my life with my 18. Yeah, our style wasn't wavy, but we had a vision.